let's start with a little overview. There's a couple different types of washing machines out there if you don't already know. Front loaders, top loaders, HE top loaders, and old school or traditional top loaders. And all front loaders are HE as far as I'm aware. HE means high efficiency. High efficiency washers use a lower water level and slightly different agitation functions to get your clothes clean. Like a front loader, you're gonna have a little bit of water in the drum, the whole drum tumbles, your clothes roll around and agitate against themselves, sort of on the sides. There's usually some fins in there to get the agitation going. Traditional top loaders use a center agitator and a lot of water and really agitate your clothes. I haven't used a traditional agitator in a long time. We were gonna get a new one instead of just these $50 Craigslist washing machines. We got an HE. It was a Kenmore HE with the impeller. An impeller is, or a wash plate, and you'll see it later on in the video. It was a Kenmore with an impeller. I never had trouble with that. It had a solid lid. I couldn't see in it. I don't know how it worked. Some research, that model was one of the high efficiencies that used more water than most of the other HE top loaders. I didn't know that, but I was glad I got it. It worked fine. I never had trouble, no complaints. Cycle times are long. That's just a fact of HE machines. The front loader I grew up with had longer cycle times. It didn't really bother me. Water level, it's a common complaint that these HEs don't use enough water. They do use less water, which means you have to use an HE detergent for various reasons. Collapsing bubbles, less suds. It's a more concentrated detergent than traditional detergents, and personally I don't know if there's any detergent at my local store that's not labeled HE. I really don't think there is. So they sense the load and then they put the water in, and the clothes, the impeller, the way it's supposed to work, if you have your clothes, the impeller turns and it's supposed to push the clothes out and they should fall back in. Out and in, out and in, and agitate against themselves, the sides of the drum, and the impeller. Is how it's supposed to work, which I'm pretty sure is what it did in my Kenmore. Never really had trouble rewashing loads, nothing like that. And then we moved, and that lovely Kenmore I had, the control board was just fried. Nothing on it would work. And that was on like a Sunday night. It was in the middle of a load of clothes and it just stopped. We worked on it a little bit. I called Kenmore, which I'd had it for like 3 years, so it wasn't under warranty. My husband and I decided we would just go get a new washing machine. By the time we had a service call, wait on parts, had somebody come work on it, it was basically going to cost what a new machine was going to cost. So we just went ahead and we bought one that I felt was very similar. I did not read any reviews. All I did was I picked out a washing machine that was a top loader that had a knob style that looked just like my Kenmore. But Sears closed, so there was no Kenmore. We had to go to Menards. In hindsight, that was a very bad idea. Read reviews. Reviews are very important. This is going to be my review of that washing machine I bought when my Kenmore bit the dust. It's a Maytag Bravos. Then I'll go over the basic washing machine style types, different cycles, and then I will have a couple videos of the machine actually working. A little explanation on that. That Maytag started making a sound the next day. It made a horrible noise. I called Menards. They said there was nothing they could do about it. They don't take returns on large appliances or appliances that take water. I don't remember how they worded it specifically. So they said, nope, sorry, you're out of luck here. To try to get a hold of Maytag, that is very difficult. Their customer service is very poor. I've called them several times. They sent a technician out 3 times. The first time, he didn't hear it. The second time, still didn't hear it. The third time, finally he heard it. He had to order parts, come back, couldn't get the job done because something was seized up on it. There was no fault to me. It was a very common problem for these parts to be fused together. He was just gonna have to break it, which meant he was gonna have to replace those parts as well. So he had to go back, order more parts, and come back again. So it was a very long process to get this machine fixed under warranty. Once I did get it fixed, it did work a little better, but other than that, no, it didn't. It did not perform as well. And doing research on it, and I wish I could source all this, but at the time I was not thinking about doing reviews. I was just doing this for my benefit. So take this at face value, if you will, because I can't source it. I could probably spend hours going back and trying to find where I found this information. Here's what I found out. As I said before, that Kenmore used like 8 gallons of water when it washed. Maytag, the most water it was manufactured to put in on the largest load, on the largest sensing load, was 3.5 gallons. It didn't matter how many clothes you put in there. If it was not on bulky, it would not put any more than 3.5 gallons of water in the tub. If you have a Maytag Bravos and you're having trouble, read the reviews. You're not the only one, and Maytag does not care. First thing you need to do, small loads. Small loads is very important. If you want to use bulky and get as most water as you can, that might work for some people, but for me, I have very heavily soiled clothes, working on a farm, different things. My husband works at a rock quarry, I work in a hog barn. My clothes get very dirty, and there's just not enough agitation against themselves to get clean with bulky. Just too much water, and if I put enough clothes in there to get enough agitation, it can't stay balanced. It just throws an error and shuts down and cancels the cycle, and then you have to take all those sopping wet clothes out and rewash really small loads. Made that mistake. So this is me talking about my Maytag Bravos and how much I hate it, and I really would recommend you not get one. Continue to watch if you want to see a little bit more into detail. Hopefully someday I will put up a video on my new GE washing machine that I really like. I tried to review my Maytag Bravos. This is going to be a really messed up review. I tried to do this in the house when it was still hooked up, but that didn't really work. So I'm going to try and Frankenstein a few videos together and make a comprehensive review. You may hear a calf running around. He's our bottle calf, and I was letting him out for a little bit of exercise today. But anyway, back to the washing machine. It's now sitting in the barn. It's the model with the knobs and the clear top. It has the impeller in it and not the agitator. For reference, the model number is MVWX655DW1. I will edit in some clips of the washing machine running because the cycles are horribly long. I don't want to watch a video that long. Trust me, I watch washing machine videos on a regular basis. It lets you adjust the soil level. This is soil level, not water level. It will affect the water level some, but to me it's not noticeable. Your water temp, which it's not doing anything because obviously it's not hooked up. Here are your cycles. We'll go back to them here in just a second. Experince and fabric softener. As far as I know, the fabric softener does a different style of rinse, but honestly, I always just left it on, so I have no idea what it actually did. Back to the cycles. Normal is your normal wash for your normal soiled clothes. Wrinkle control, I think, does less agitation and maybe slightly more water. I never actually tried that cycle, and maybe I should have. Maybe this won't be as comprehensive as I thought it would be. Hand wash, it's for items that need to be hand washed, and I did use that some on some of my delicates. Cold water wash, and I honestly don't see much difference. Deep water wash or normal wash with cold water. I don't really understand why that's a separate cycle on this machine. Bulky is fill the machine up as far as it will go with the most amount of water. Deep water wash uses a deeper water level than, say, the normal or the power wash. I don't think I ever got water much higher than these first little bubbles. I think that's about as much water as I could get. Power wash uses even less water than the deep water wash. The power wash uses a different agitation style, and this cycle is hellaciously long. Soak just does what it says. It soaks. It does a little bit of agitation at the beginning, and then when the time expires, which is 3 hours, the water drains out. No spin, no nothing. Clean wash, drain and spin, rinse and spin. So those are the cycles. And then you have your start, pause button, sensing, wash, rinse, spin, done, lid lock. Hold for 3 seconds to cancel. I swear, I timed it. It takes almost 6 seconds to actually cancel the load. Inside, you have your softener and your detergent. I I never really, powdered detergent doesn't really work in here. It gets clogged up. It doesn't work very well. I put it in the drum. Liquid detergent does just fine in the drum. Your fullest water is going to be these top holes here. It has the impeller, and then your bleach dispenser. And now I will probably go in, do some editing, and then at the end of the video, if you want to fast forward to that, I will tell you why I hate this washing machine. But that's just a basic overview of the settings and cycles. So my lighting isn't good. I'm gonna do a load of jeans. I'm gonna leave it on extra heavy. We'll go ahead and bump it up to warm, and we'll do a deep water wash just so I can show you how deep the water actually is. We'll not worry about the rinse right now. Fabric softener is on. According to my directions, for medium loads, line 2. Large loads, line 4. HE full loads, line 5. I'm gonna call it a large load, so there's 4. This is Tide plus bleach. Dump that. Since it's powder, I'm gonna put it directly in the bottom and not mess with the detergent drawer. I'm not using fabric softener. Sorry about the floor. I gave the dog a bath and the floor is a mess now. They're dirty, don't get me wrong, but to me they're not heavily soiled. I set a piece of pizza on my leg and that's a grease stain, mud, and it's wet from the floor. Again, this is from the dog on the floor. But on the dry spot you can see that they are dirty. I've loaded this properly in loose heaps around the outside. The middle is exposed, detergent is on the bottom. Dry clothes, this is just over 1/4 of a drum. So somewhere about 3/8. Okay, so we're gonna shut the lid. This handy dandy viewing window so I can show you the wash cycle as it goes. Got it on a deep water wash, and here we go. We're gonna start out. It puts a little water in, it spins. It is on sensing right now. Just gonna kick around a couple more times. This does take several minutes. I'm going to edit out parts of this while it fills and stuff. But anything that it does that I feel needs to be shown, I will show you. And you can hear it switch back and forth between the hot and the cold water. I have spent the past 7 years in a house with a washing machine head and no hot water. My Kenmore, solely cold water. I used it for a solid 3 years with absolutely no issues. So I purchased this in July of 2017. It is now March of 2018. Okay, it's still filling with water. And now it still says sensing. It is agitating. It's hard to see. I'm gonna go ahead and open this up, which will automatically pause the cycle. So I wiped off the window. This is as much water as it has in it for this when sensing gets done. You can see it's getting dirty. And when you open the lid, it adds a little more water because it thinks you added an item or something. I don't remember what it said. I've read the owner manual cover to cover more than once. Okay, so now you can actually see the impeller work back and forth. The drum shifts just a little bit. We're getting some setting, which my repairman said that's bad. Okay, Okay, my agitation stopped for a second because it still says it's sensing. And it paused, and now it's going to let more water in. It is still filling with water, still on sensing. I'm not entirely sure how long we are into this wash cycle. And it now has went from sensing to wash. There's quite a bit of suds in there. I think you've probably heard enough. This is kind of irritating, to say the least. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up again. Even though we have quite a bit of suds, it's in the lowest point of the tub. So, not that, I don't know how big my hand is for sure, but the water comes up just past my knuckles. So that's a few inches of water. And I'm going to shut the lid, and it's going to put a little bit more water in there, like that. It's going to put a little more water in and continue to agitate. Puppy. I think the noise is actually worse in the rinse cycle. Okay, so when it's on rinse, the lid is locked, but it doesn't lock for the wash, so you can open it. Spin now. My husband called and interrupted during the rinse cycle, so I didn't actually get to show you how dirty the water was that was being rinsed off. It'll be done spinning here in just a second, and it has to coast to a stop before the lid will unlock, and then I will decide if I need to wash them again or not. Okay, so it's coasting down now. Spins twice, I believe. Once each direction. So it'll either start spinning again or it's done. Oh, okay, it's done. Doesn't seem too bad. I don't think this one was as dirty. Still a little bit there. That was my review on my Maytag Bravos. I don't think there's anything else I need to add. This is really shaky. I'm getting ready for bed. My jeans aren't horribly dirty compared to my husband's that are just not clean. It takes a lot to get his clean. So I do a rinse and spin to get the majority of the gunk off, not the majority, but to help loosen it up. And the rinse and spin I think is like a 20-minute cycle. Now my manual does not give me any times. This is all stuff I have timed on my specific machine. I have a notebook that is full of notes on the different cycles because I have sat there and watched it. I have taken the time to sit there and watch it, and this machine sucks. I've had it for a few months and I hate it so much that I am so grateful that I have the funds that I went and bought a new machine. It's not here yet, so I'm just making do with this one until it gets here. Back to my husband's jeans, where I do a rinse and spin, which is about 20 minutes, and then I put in like a stain remover. I use Biz, which is similar to OxyClean, or if I have OxyClean, I use OxyClean, whatever. I use a stain remover and put it in the drum. And then I pull the jeans away, jeans and shirts, because I wash his jeans to shirts and sweatshirts all together. I pull them away from the edge and fluff them or shake them out or whatever you call it. And then I put it on for a soak, which takes 3 hours on hot. After the soak is done, I move the clothes into the center of the machine, dump the detergent around the edge, and then pull them back, and then I either run a deep wash or a power wash. And a lot of times that still doesn't get his clothes clean. Whichever one, like if I ran a deep wash and there's still some dirty clothes in there, I'll pull out whatever looks clean and then just wash what's still dirty. And when I mean dirty, I'm not talking stains. I am talking dirt in the creases of the clothes along the edge of the drum. Sometimes that's rinse and spin, soak, and then 2 wash cycles. That's 4 times I have to go to the machine and do something. That is just ridiculous. His clothes are no dirtier now than they were with the Kenmore, and the Kenmore would get them clean in one go. Generally. I mean, if we had really dirty clothes, we have really dirty clothes. I don't expect a machine to be miraculous. Every once in a while, yeah, something was really dirty. Oh, there's still a stain on it. Wash it again. Not a big deal. But this is all of his jeans every time. And I am here to tell you, do not buy a Maytag Bravos without the agitator. I can't speak for the agitator one because I don't have it. And I am not against the impeller. My Kenmore was fine. This is just my public service announcement or whatever. Buyer beware. It's not a good machine. I have terrible luck with it. I'm having the maintenance guy fix it because it is still under warranty. And then I've bought a new one. And as soon as it gets fixed, I'm taking it out to the garage and I am selling it on Craigslist for parts. I guess thanks for listening to my rant.